I want to talk to you about something that you may not be familiar with when it comes to marriage and relationship. And yet, it is something that is really playing out in most of our marriages and relationships. In essence, it has a subtle effect on how your marriage goes, positively or negatively. If you're consciously aware of what I'm about to talk about, that you'll be able to move away from the weaknesses of it and maximize the strength of it. Relationships that truly work, whether marriage, single, divorce, whatever the case is, if relationship will truly work, it is important for you to begin to consciously think about something we call your birth order. Your birth order. Birth order simply means in what order were you born? All right? It simply means what position do you occupy amongst your mother's children? Question: does your position and how you grew up, does it have anything to do with your future life, your adult life? Is it very possible that the adult behavior that you are manifesting today is actually an outflow from the situation that you found yourself in, considering your birth position? In the 20th century, there was a particular scientist, someone who is a great philosopher by name Alfred Adler. He came up with this whole concept about birth order. And he once stated that the order in which a child is born impacts his or her personality. End of quote. Alfred Adler said the order in which a child is born usually impacts the personality, the behavior, the worldview, the outlook, the perception, reaction, decision-making process of that child. I want you to take note of the things that your birth order will affect. Number one, your birth order will affect your experiences. The childhood experiences you had, most of them stem from your birth order, your birth position. If you were the last, you were kept from certain experiences. Number two is your behavior. You're about to find out today that your birth order impacts on your behavior. The next thing I want to share with you, of course, is that it's not only your experience that is impacted by your birth order, your behavior is your personality, the person you become. It's impacted by your birth order. You're going to see all of that very shortly. Number four, the relationships that you keep, the kind of relationship you're going to keep. Whether you're going to be somebody that easily attracts and keep people, or you are the type that repels people from you, all of that is going to stream from your birth order. Firstborns, by virtue of your birth order, most firstborns are under pressure to perform. You were born to perform because your parents will expect so much from you. Even if you are the only child, by virtue of the fact that you're a firstborn, you're going to see a similarity between firstborns and only child. All right? One of the things you find out about firstborns is that there's so much required from them. Their parents are experimenting with them. Put it there, don't keep it there. Because in the mind of the parents, most times, I'm using this one to set the tone for the others. As a result of that, there is a natural tendency for the firstborn to become more of a perfectionist, more of a human doing than a human being. You also find out that most firstborns are a little bit detail oriented because their parents put that pressure on them. Don't keep it there, keep it here, and keep it well. The challenge with that over time is that when siblings begin to come, when other children begin to come, Firstborns have the tendency to become bossy, controlling, and domineering. Middleborns are usually great negotiators because, they have to go in between the oldest and the youngest. So they are usually by virtue of their birth order, they develop what we call negotiation skills. They develop management skills, ability to manage relationships. So they are usually very adaptable. They can be this here and be that there. They can create a split personality. They are this to this and this to that. Middle sons, middle daughters are peacekeepers. They are independent. They run their own show and run in between everybody. They are very loyal. If they believe in you, they believe in you. If they call themselves your friends, they are your friends. They are very diplomatic. Middle kids, very, very diplomatic. Lastborns are attention seekers. It's not their fault. It's what they get. When they were born as the last set of kids, they got attention. Or if they were born because the parents were not prepared to have them, then they are going to suffer what we call the deficit of attention. So lastborns always have surplus attention or deficit attention. Either way, if they have surplus of it, they will keep looking for it in old age. They will be attention seekers. If they lacked it, is what they will pursue when they get into a relationship also. In actual fact, it will be the major thing they use to determine who they settle with in marriage. Meaning, you can manipulate a lastborn by giving a lastborn attention. Not only that, lastborns have the tendency to be self-centered. It's all about me. Now imagine you have a lastborn as a wife. It's all about her. You have a lastborn as a husband. It's all about him. How about the only child? Not the first child, not the second, not the third, not the fourth. You are the only child. What are some of the characteristics of only children? When someone is an only child, number one, such a child usually is raised to be responsible. Most only children, when you have someone who's an only child, the parents try to make sure the person is a little bit responsible. So most of them turn out to be responsible. They turn out to be entertaining because, again, they have to find a way to entertain themselves with nobody as as a sibling. So they have a way of actually taking care of themselves. The other side of it is that they are also secret attention seekers. They may never show you, but they will need it. They need you to be with them, but they will never tell you because they've learned to suppress their emotions. Let's get to the combinations now. What if a firstborn marries a firstborn? Here are some of the likely things you're going to see. Number one, the weakness. When a firstborn marries a firstborn man marries a firstborn girl, one of the common weakness that they may have to deal with is that of desire for control. Who is going to be in control? The man will want to exercise control, but he's going to be sensing that the woman doesn't want to be controlled. Why? She was in control at home. So firstborn marriage, there will usually be the tension for control. There will also be the desire for perfection. Somebody will be putting the other one under pressure to get it done properly. And so you find out there's going to be tension around perfection. So such a marriage is prone to a lot of conflict because it's a firstborn marriage. Are we saying firstborns and firstborns shouldn't marry? They should marry. You are free to marry if God leads you so, but be aware that one of the things you're going to be dealing with in your marriage is the need to humble yourself before each other and accept the scriptural recommendation that says submit yourself one to another. That is the recommendation to a firstborn to firstborn marriage. Submit yourself one to another. The middleborn is a type that is diplomatic, peacekeeper. So the middleborn, if the middleborn is married to a firstborn, The middleborn will always tag along, always do what the firstborn says, but not necessarily because the middleborn is happy. The middleborn will be suppressing feelings, whereas the firstborn is expressing his own feelings. Normally, over time, such a marriage is the one that ends up in a divorce that will shock everybody, because they were looking nice. Overnight, what happened? Well, the middleborn child, who knows how to suppress feelings, has had enough. Now, we know that middleborns like to compromise. Therefore, firstborns who marry middleborns don't always let the middleborn compromise all the time. As firstborn partner, learn to shift ground. Firstborn shift ground, middleborn will compromise. What happens if a firstborn marries a lastborn? What are the peculiarities of that? The weakness is that because the firstborn is highly structured and very serious, and the lastborn is less organized and easily distracted, there will be tension. If you are a firstborn married to a lastborn, the lastborn should leverage on the structured nature of the firstborn. As a lastborn, learn to begin to imbibe a little bit of structure into your life. And as the firstborn, who is overly too structured and too serious, leverage the fun-loving, life enjoying nature of the lastborn. Have some fun, play around, go on vacation. Your life is too serious. You're going to come to the end of your life to realize you never lived. You were just achieving. You never lived. You saved all your money. You never spent it. Now you're living it to woo. You never had fun in your life. Never took yourself out. Never go for swimming. Never had a spa. Never had a massage. What happens if a middleborn marries a middleborn? You know what that is. You know, because middleborns avoid confrontation. Middleborns suppress their opinions. Middleborns fear rejection. Middleborns relate outside. So the danger is when a middleborn marries a middleborn, what happens in that kind of situation is that the two of them would never tell each other how bad they feel about each other, because everybody avoids confrontation. Not only that, everybody's suppressing their opinion, so nobody really tells anybody the truth. So it's going to be a pseudo-peaceful environment, a place that looks like their marriage is together. When you meet them in church, they look perfect, like perfect couple. They dress alike, they smile all the time, but trust me, they are drifted apart. Because they are middleborns, they have mastered the art of deception. What is the recommendation for middleborns who marry middleborns? Learn to speak up. Learn to express your affection. Learn to spend time together, because middleborns like to spend time with outsiders. Leaving your partner alone. So if you are two middleborns, you will always want to go out. And the bottom line is that two of you will not have a relationship. When a middleborn marries a lastborn, the middleborn who loves to be isolated and the lastborn who likes to have fun will likely have a challenge. Even though the middleborn likes to go outside, the middleborn at home likes to be isolated. Meanwhile, the lastborn likes to be integrated, likes to associate. So here's the problem. I want to draw close. You are drifting away. It's going to cause tension. So what do we recommend if you are a middleborn that is married or getting married to a lastborn? Middleborns should learn to start getting engaged in the activities that lastborns enjoy. Lastborns must learn to appreciate, celebrate, and listen to the middleborns. What happens when a lastborn marries a lastborn? Well, because the lastborn has no structure, doesn't like a structured life, just wants to have fun, no attention to details. When you have no attention to details, marry no attention to details, only God will help the two of them. So what is the recommendation? If two lastborns marry each other, they can be successful if they will do the following. They should begin to delegate roles, meaning we should begin to tell each other, you are in charge of this. You are in charge of that. Number 2, they should be accountable to each other. Number 3, they should be accountable to a mentor, somebody who gets the two of them to be successful by watching over them. Number 3, they should learn to use list, because you are fun-loving, you easily forget. So write what you want to do